Okay, so here we are with part 2 of the interviews that I'm doing with local businesses. Once again, my name is Claire. I'm at Just Knock Estate Agents. I decided that I was going to try something a little bit different by speaking to small businesses and large businesses just to see how we're getting on. I'm extremely privileged to be speaking to Suzie Bidlake today, and she's got an extremely bespoke business. So Suzie, over to you. Tell me a little bit about your business or where you started from.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me on here today. Delighted to meet you too. So my business, in a way, started when I was 21. I'm 56 now. But when I was 21, I went backpacking in India. And at that time, obviously, you know, it was a backpacker's holiday. And I promised myself that I would come back one day with more money. I've never done that. I still plan to. So I had that little promise always going on in my head. And the other promise that I always had going on in my head was that I would do my best work in my 50s. And I had no idea what that was going to be. But I was getting to that point. I'm now 56, thinking, time is kind of running out. But I always thought, I'm going to do this kind of menopausal startup. but you know, it's hard, isn't it? And you always kind of are looking for certainties and anchors and guarantees before you kind of, you know, make that leap and do anything like that. So for me, what was quite interesting with this year was that two things. One, my mother died, and that makes you really face your own mortality. And the second thing was, you know, COVID hit, and suddenly we're all stripped of all certainty, all guarantees, all anchors. And I'd heard that in India, through some friends that we had there, that, you know, not only had I heard on the news that COVID was clearly affecting India hugely, but I'd also heard that the artisan communities there, so these are people that are hand making products in their traditional ways and living in very rural communities. And by the way, those rural communities are like a different country to the cities in India.
Yeah.
It's like a different century there. And they have, you know, they live a very sort of minimal existence, and they don't have all the things that, you know, we expect and rely on, like good health service and social support and, you know, furlough and all of that. And I'd heard that they were really, really struggling. They were struggling before COVID hit because, you know, finding the market for these products is difficult. These things take days. You know, I've got some products here. I mean, everything's handmade. A lot of them are hand painted. Wow. And one of the things that I've discovered is that actually I can't just get more of something at a particular time, because, for instance, at the moment it's raining out there. And so they can't dry them because they dry them in the baking sun. And so, you know, these things take forever, and they're often, you know, family businesses in a way. The women do a lot of the work. You know, the younger people are having to go and do things that earn more money, like drive an Uber in the city. And these ancient crafts that have been going on for centuries and centuries are dying out, and these communities are finding it really hard to feed their families. And one of the things that I discovered this year was that now a lot of them are having to decide who in the family will eat on what day. Oh, wow. And I just, and so, yeah. And so all these things sort of came together for me. You know, I was looking for a purpose. I wanted to do something, and it had to be purposeful for me. That's just my, you know, my kind of thing. I always knew that's what I was interested in doing. So I had the menopausal startup thing going, my mum dying, and actually here in India is something that I can help. Not only that, they're making these beautiful things. I was thinking, we could all do with some more colour in our lives. People over here, we need a lift.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, who wouldn't be lifted by, look at this little beauty.
Oh, wow.
So I call these, I have quite a few sort of wooden boxes. I'm looking, I can't tell if you can see that that's a drawer coming out. I call these treasure chests, because, I mean, look at even the top. This is sort of metal work. Can you see that?
Stunning, yeah, absolutely.
All handmade, hand painted. These from Rajasthan. I mean, just, you know, absolutely stunning. And so my tagline is bringing colour to life. So for me, this is, you know, we can bring a bit of colour to our lives here. Look at these little beauties, mama and baby, wooden hand-painted elephants with little bells on. You see how quite large they are as well. If you can
They're
see
quite
it.
heavy as well.
They're not insubstantial, but they're not really heavy, these particular ones. But you know, they're not gonna fall over in a gust of wind, put it that way.
They're absolutely stunning.
Well, they are beautiful, aren't they? And so for me, it's like bringing colour to our lives, and also hopefully, you know, bringing colour back to the artisans who are creating that, because it's supporting their livelihood. So here's a little lad who's an elephant, but also a treasure chest.
Absolutely beautiful. And these are all, they look like they're unique as well. So, you know, each one's going to be completely different. Is that correct?
Yeah. So what I try and go for are, most of the things that I have are unusual. They're often unusual. They're always colourful. And so they sort of span. So what I'm looking at are kind of gifts and sort of homeware. So here's something that, again, is really completely different. This is a mango wood snack platter or meze platter. So you can see it's got its little sort of rubber bases, so you can have, you know, whatever snacks, meze, tapas, whatever you want on there. So you can see how this is quite different to an elephant box, you know. And then I have, you know, cushion covers, which are all, you know, bespoke designs. I have different colours with different designs on. So I have gold, green and blue, and I have 6 designs in each colour that I've said, right, okay, it needs to have, you know, they all have this same sort of design like this, but because it's according to, you know, what saris there are, it's all kind of recycled fabrics, you know, and what they have there. I've then had to say, okay, well, you come up with that. And, you know, thankfully, the things that have arrived from India have been absolutely beautiful. So I've been really pleased.
Have you been tempted to keep a few yourself?
I do have them around. Yes, I mean, I would pay it into the business. I think I'd put it that way. So yeah, I would definitely have them around me, because also it's sort of, you know, actually, I don't think you can, you have to use your own product. You have to believe in it and buy it and want it around you, don't you?
I would certainly say, if it was me, I would be buying these. It's certainly, especially, I mean, there's so many people out there that absolutely love this type of thing. And it really is the colour that comes with it. Really,
it is. It's getting great feedback, I must say. I have some trays. Here's an example. So these are, again, mango wood that I've had stained black, polished black, actually. And then these are, you know, just drawings that they've done. I mean, here's these are actually these are traditional art forms. It looks like someone's just gone, oh, shall I do this? But actually, these are traditional art forms, and they're only about sort of 12 traditional art forms still in India, and they have, you know, some of them, in fact, this particular type, I think only 11 people now still do this art form.
Wow.
You know, it's incredible. And they all have sort of, you know, deep roots in how they came about. So maybe it was that, you know, in centuries gone by, they couldn't get into the temples, so they started sort of building shrines by painting walls in this particular type of design, and then they've ended up decorating their own homes in the, you know, so they've all got lovely stories, and it feels really important to sort of keep that alive. And it's just wonderful for them to find a new market. And the thing I'm loving is that, so on my social media and things, as I was just explaining to you, I quite often do sort of dance with the products, or they also actually the artisans created a top for me and a scarf, and they sent it over for Christmas, which is so lovely. And so I was doing some dancing with it sort of in this film, and I was having to have this translated for me, what they were saying, but they were absolutely, you know, delighted and loved the idea that actually their things were, you know, being exposed to, you know, bringing joy to other people in the UK. So that's, you know, it pays back each way, and it's wonderful that people buying the products here are actually then supporting, you know, the people in these communities there. And I think, you know, we're all going through a hard time, aren't we? We're all going through a hard time. But, you know, I think this whole kind of, you know, I've always believed in, we're one world and we all support each other. And
Oh,
so, you know, I'm
wonderful.
delighted to be doing it.
Susie, how do we find your products then? Because if you're quite new, it's a case of obviously we need people out there to know who you are and where to go. So where's the best place that people can find you?
So you can find me at suziebidlake.com. So that's Suzie, Suzie, and then Bidlake is B for boy, ID for Delta, Lake. Suzie Bidlake means by the lake, if that helps to remember it. suziebidlake.com. So that's my website, and all the products are listed under shop in case
Fantastic.
people with that. And I can also be found on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, that sort of thing for the promotion. I live in Leighton Buzzard, so you know, I do already have some local customers for whom I'm very grateful. So of course people can you know, contact me, and you know, if they're local to this area, then you know, I can arrange for postage charges to be taken off, and you know, that sort of thing.
Some sort of delivery of some sort. No, that's fine.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
just one more thing for you. Do you have? You should have a look at maybe doing an Etsy shop, or is that too much for you?
I have actually started doing that. Yes. So I am doing that. But of course, that's, I mean, this is very new. So these products all arrived with me just before Christmas. I've just got up my website. I'm kind of doing, I'm still trying to get even more photography on my own website, etc. So I'm in the process of doing Etsy, but thank you for that.
No,
So, yeah.
absolutely. Well, I'd just like to say I'm intrigued, and I'm going to be going straight onto your website in a minute and having a look at a few things. Susie, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, so anyone out there, it's suziebidlake.com. And if you do forget the address, then please do contact myself or Susie directly, and we can get you onto the right path. Susie, thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, and to you.